Hello, hello, hello. It's really good to see you. I hope you and everyone is doing well. As you can see, it's another beautiful day in the Ville, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to spend a few moments with me. I'm working on my version of this classic tale entitled Tug of War. I've decided to turn this particular story into a puppet show, and I'm working on my adaptation as of right now. I'm very, very close to being finished. I will tell you, since the last segment, I've had a chance to read a few different versions to get a different perspective from the different authors that created their versions of Tug of War. And I think I'm very, very close to having something that's original, that's from my voice, something that I'm happy with, that tells the story, honors the classic themes and the morals. And I'm really looking forward to being able to present this. But before I tell you a few things that I've kept in mind during my adaptation, and some of the changes that I've made, it's probably important that you know the story. So, what I'm going to do now is share with you my reading of Tug of War. And after that, I'll talk to you about the changes that I've made and what I'm doing and how I will go about voicing or selecting a voice for my characters. Please enjoy my reading of Tug of War. Tug of War by John Burningham. Hare, hippopotamus, and elephant lived together in the forest. Often, when hippopotamus and elephant had nothing better to do, they would be mean to Hare and tease him. Hippopotamus would say to Hare, "What a tiny, wimpy thing you are with those ridiculous ears. All you do is hop around." An elephant would say, "Hare, you really are a feeble idiot. With your twitching nose and whiskers, that's all you have." Now, Hare was getting fed up with hippopotamus and elephant being nasty to him day after day, so he thought of a plan. Hare went first to see Elephant. "Elephant," said Hare, "if we were to have a tug of war, I think I would win." "You must be joking, you sickly little twerp," said Elephant. "I am 200 million times stronger than you." Nevertheless, Hare gave Elephant one end of a rope and told him to wait for a tug and then to pull as hard as he could. Hare took the other end of the rope and went down to the river to talk to Hippopotamus. "What on earth do you want now, you silly long-eared big-whiskered nerd?" said Hippopotamus. "Although you think I'm a tiny wimpy thing, if you have a tug of war with me," said Hare, "I know I would win." "You? Win against me? You must be joking," said Hippopotamus. "There is no way a little speck like you could possibly win against mighty me." "Go on then," said Hippopotamus, taking the other end of the rope. "When you start to pull, I'll tug so hard you'll be flicked into the river." Hare hid between Elephant and Hippopotamus and tugged the rope. In the river, Hippopotamus felt the tug and started to pull. In the forest, Elephant felt the pull on the rope and was amazed at the strength of Hare. And the tug of war began. Elephant and Hippopotamus could not believe how hard Hare was pulling the rope. They pulled into twilight. They pulled through sunset. And they pulled all night long. In the morning, Hare went as close as he could to Hippopotamus without being seen. "Oh, Hippopotamus, aren't you tired yet? You've been pulling for such a long time. Won't you say I am as strong as you?" "No, I won't, you weak little fool," said Hippopotamus, and pulled even harder. Hare hid near Elephant and asked, "Have you had enough, Elephant? Will you say I am the winner?" "Not in a million years will you ever win against me," said Elephant, and pulled with all his might. Hippopotamus pulled hard, but by now he was getting very tired and could not understand why Hare had not moved and how he could be so strong. "Have you had enough, Elephant?" Hare asked again. "Do you admit that I am better than you?" "Perhaps," said Elephant with a gasp. "You are a little stronger than I thought." Then Hare tiptoed back to Hippopotamus. "Oh, Hippopotamus," he said, "surely you must now agree that I am the stronger one." "You are not quite as weak as I thought," Hippopotamus replied between tugs. Some time later, Elephant and Hippopotamus pulled the rope close enough that they finally came face to face. "What are you doing, Hippopotamus?" said Elephant. "I thought I was having a tug of war with Hare." "So did I," said Hippopotamus. Then they realized that they had been tricked and they were furious. "Let's get that little runt," they cried, and thundered off to find Hare. "We'll search every inch of the forest until we find that little weed, and then we'll show him," they said. But even though they charged around for hours, they never found Hare because he was already miles away up in the hills. For Hare had proved that although he was not as strong as Elephant and Hippopotamus, he was much more clever. The end. So there it is. What'd you think? Fair enough. Now, let me tell you about two major adjustments that I made, or changes that I made in my adaptation or version of the show. Now, after reading a few different stories from different authors, I made two major changes. Change number one, I changed the main character. Some versions of the story has the main character as a hare, others has it as a tortoise. Now, both animals are perceived as being weak, lacking in strength. However, I like the turtle, and I think I'm going to go with a turtle or the tortoise because turtles are slow. I like turtles. They're cute, don't get me wrong. Hares are adorable as well. But the turtle, I really would like the animals, the other creatures in the jungle, to be left with a greater sense of respect for others. And I don't want to have the turtle fleeing for the rest of his life, looking over his shoulder, in fear of an elephant or the hippopotamus coming out to give him a good chewing out for tricking them. I really, really like the idea that, of course, the turtle uses his wits to teach them to be more sensitive and open-minded to the feelings of the other animals. So with that in mind, I think I'm gonna go more with the turtle. My second major change is the ending. Like I just said, in that particular version, and there's nothing wrong, but the hippo and the elephant, they find out that they've been tricked and they look throughout the entire jungle searching for this hare. Other versions of the story support the animals getting a greater idea of being open-minded about the feelings of the turtle and other smaller creatures. With that in mind, I think I'm going to lean more towards a happier ending, animals being kinder and more sensitive and more open to the things that they say as it pertains to other smaller animals. Now, with those two adjustments in mind, I think now it's time for me to look and focus on the actual dialogue or what the creatures say to each other. Adapting the story. What does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have one example from the story that I just read that's going to help me explain the two things that I keep in mind when adapting a story. So, this line here, said by the elephant, from the author reads, "You must be joking, you sickly little turtle. I am 200 million times stronger than you." First thing that I would keep in mind is how. How would I, as the elephant, not the author, but how would I, as Mr. B, playing the elephant, say this one line? Now, I might say something like, not saying it this way, but I would probably say it like, you must be pulling my trunk. I am way, 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 way stronger than anyone in this here jungle. That's one way. Now, I said it differently, but it means the same thing. That's one thing. How would I say this in my own voice, or how would I say it differently? The second thing is what? What else would I say? Would I add anything to this? Let's try it again. You must be pulling my trunk. I am way, way, way stronger than anyone in this here jungle. You must have some nerve, little turtle. Same thing, same idea, but I added a few extra things. And those extra things, they add up to minutes or seconds. Seconds add up to minutes, and that stretches it out to my 7 to 9 minute time frame that I'm looking for. Now, because I have an entire story to adapt, I've got some work to do. Once I finish, I'm going to talk to you about how I'm going to voice, or how I go about voicing the individual characters. Voicing the character. How do I do it? Well, for as long as I can remember, I've always been taught that it's important to warm up your voice. Your voice is a beautiful instrument, and I'm not just talking about mine. I'm talking about everyone. Everyone has a very unique and very powerful instrument that has to be warmed up if you want to sing, if you want to read, or if you want to, of course, perform. Now, there are two warm-ups that I've always done with any project that I've ever taken on. There are two warm-ups that I've always found very, very important and valuable to warming up my voice and getting me ready to read or recite or even sing whatever's put in front of me. The first thing that I always do, of course, is something that's called plosives. Plosives. Plosives are letters in the alphabet that pop. Not all the letters in the alphabet pop. There are only certain ones. So, my plosives, what I always do, of course, is make sure that I'm sitting correctly. I take a deep breath, get my body ready, full of oxygen, and I recite my plosives. Pa-pa-pa, ba-ba-ba, ta-ta-ta, da-da-da, ka-ka-ka, ga-ga-ga. Pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-ka, ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga. Now, plosives, these letters, they exist in different parts of the mouth. For example, I'm going to take my pinky and watch this. I'm going to allow certain parts of my inner mouth to work and exercise and stretch different parts of the alphabet. The P lives and exists on the very, very tip of the lip. And as I go through the plosives, they go further and further inside my mouth. So, pa 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 pa, ba 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 ba, ta 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 ta, da 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 da, ka 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 ka, ga 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 ga. Now, as you can see, different areas inside the inner mouth, they are actually responsible for certain sounds. So it's my responsibility to make sure that every part of my mouth is ready to go. So, one more time. Pa-pa-pa, ba-ba-ba, ta-ta-ta, da-da-da, ka-ka-ka, ga-ga-ga. Those are plosives. Now, this next warm-up is something that I really, really enjoy. It's really going to help me as I move forward. And that is counting from 1 to 10. Now, as I count from 1, and I'm going to start 1, I'm going to say it as high as I possibly can. And as I work my way through the numbers, as I get higher and higher and higher until I reach 10, I'm going to go lower and lower in my voice. Here's the example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I'll do that in reverse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I go through that because that allows me to stretch out my voice. And as I'm reciting the lines that I created for Tug of War, I might make a decision that, well, maybe the tortoise, when I do that exercise, is a 2. Or maybe the tortoise is a 5. Or maybe the tortoise sounds like a number 9. These are the different choices that I'm presented with as I do my warm-ups. Now, if I hear something that I really, really like, I'll stick with it. So right here, I have one line, actually the first line in my version of Tug of War. Now, here it is. Hey, hey, what's the big idea? Watch where you're going, you big mound of blubber. Yeah, that's it. The very first line in my version. So, let me try that on number 1. Hey! What's the big idea? Watch where you're going, you big mound of blubber! I don't know. Let me try it at a 5, which is probably my normal speaking voice. Hey! What's the big idea? Watch where you're going, you big mound of blubber. Okay, that's another choice. Let me try it number 10. Hey, what's the big idea? Watch where you're going, you big mound of blubber. I don't know. As I play with my voice and I try different things, it's going to allow me to figure out what I think is appropriate for different characters. Does one work for the elephant? Does the other work for the hippo? Or does another work for the tortoise? I got a lot of choices to make. Now that my voice is all warmed up, I've got a fully realized, adapted script. I've got work to do. The next time we meet, I'm going to talk to you about the backdrops and making the puppets for Tug of War. Now, before I leave you, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to record my entire script, and you can record it in a few different ways. You can use a cassette tape if you have one. You can record it on a cell phone, or if you have a recording device, feel free to use that. Or, and this is my favorite, especially if you have brothers or sisters or other family members, you can perform it live. You can learn the lines and make it a family affair and just recite it live for the other members in the family that watch the show. Well, I've got to get to it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click like or subscribe to this channel. You all know what to do. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.